Winners and losers from 2025 Senior Bowl. Mobile, Alabama. The Pittsburgh Steelers and other teams headed down to Mobile, Alabama, to watch Senior Bowl practices, where players make or break their stock all week. For the Steelers, have needs at 5 different spots that line up, and they need to address them if they want their playoff fortunes to change. With that in mind, here are the winners and losers from the Senior Bowl. Hard to say that any defensive lineman had a better week than Alexander. Not only were his wins clean on tape with multiple different moves, from a club rip to a bull rush, and even a long arm mixed in, he won from a variety of different alignments. Alexander won from the nose tackle out to 5 technique, but probably settles in perfectly as a 3 technique. This reminds me a lot of the week Keanu Benton had in Mobile 2 years ago, and he should be on the Steelers' radar. Loser, the QBs. There was no quarterback that helped their stock all that much this week. Cam Ward might be the biggest winner. Jalen Milroe was all over the place, and while Jackson Dart had some moments, the wow was just as bad as his lowlights. He did himself no favors. Then, the rest of the quarterbacks did little to differentiate themselves, even guys like Taylor Elgersma out of Canada. If you need a quarterback in this class, well, no you don't. Winner, TCU WR Jack Beck. I came into the event a fan of Beck and he only bolstered that case. Beck is a tough player and showed that consistently, as cornerbacks could not move him off his spot. As a blocker, Beck is a great competitor, but I love how strong his hands are to complement that skill, too. He is an awesome fit in a scheme like Arthur Smith's, but he is not just a contested catch guy. For a former tight end, Beck gets in and out of his breaks deceptively quick for someone his size, and that helps create a lot of separation. I'm in on him. Loser, Oklahoma State RB Ollie Gordon. Gordon is fine, but for my money, he just looked like a guy all week. In this running back class, others stood out more than Gordon, who is a projected day 2 pick. There is a noticeable lack of speed in his game, and while he runs tough and finds hidden yardage, Gordon does not bring a ton of value as a pass blocker or receiver. That makes him a 2-down plotter for much of the game, and that is not a day 2 skill set. Expect the Steelers to look elsewhere, and Gordon might go early day 3 instead of going earlier. Winner, Virginia Tech RB Bashal Tutin. Tutin is so much fun to watch. His breakaway speed is apparent, and it is not build-up speed. Tutin's ability to hit the gas and go right away is rare for a running back. However, I had some questions about his ability to be a featured back or even a 3-down contributor before Thursday. Tutin was a standout in pass protection, which gives him a huge boost. Even in the one-on-ones in the passing game, Tutin made things happen. This looks like a player who will outplay his draft spot because this is a deep running back class, but I'd buy stock in the Bashal Tutin train. Steelers Insider gives bad update on QB Russell Wilson. As the saying goes, you play like you practice, and you practice how you play. According to ESPN's Brooke Pryor, that was exactly true with Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson in 2024. During a guest appearance on the Sheck Show podcast, Pryor told host Dave Dameshek and co-guest Tim Benz that at the end of the 2024 campaign when Wilson wasn't playing well, he wasn't practicing well either. Toward the end of the season, the practices at Acrisure Stadium before the playoff game, I just remember watching Russ and thinking, this is not good. He did not look good, Pryor said. He was making mistakes. He was throwing picks. I felt like the defense was going to put up a bigger fight based on what I was seeing in practice. I felt like Russ kind of went over a cliff at some point in the season in that 5-game losing streak. Pryor added that no matter how much positivity Wilson tried to express, his play had obviously changed. Wilson won 6 of his first 7 starts with the Steelers. But he finished the season 6-6, including the playoffs, as a starter. Russell Wilson's decline at the end of the 2024 NFL season. Several factors contributed to the Steelers' 5-game losing streak to end the season. They played 3 games in the span of 11 days, 2 of which were against the eventual Super Bowl teams. Sandwiched in between was a road matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. But the Steelers can't completely use the schedule as an excuse. Offensively, they didn't play much better at home after 10 days off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Wilson was a major reason for the decreased offensive production. In his first 7 starts, he averaged 8.4 yards per pass with 12 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. But even including the postseason, where Wilson padded his statistics in a lopsided second half, he averaged 6.4 yards per attempt during the 5-game losing streak. His completion percentage dropped too. Wide receiver George Pickens missed 3 games because of a hamstring injury. The Steelers failed to rush for 80 yards in 3 of their final 5 contests too. Meanwhile, the defense didn't create as many turnovers, which placed the offense in ideal scoring situations at the end of the season as it did during the first 3 months. If those things didn't happen, though, it still seems quite possible the Steelers' offense would have struggled to end 2024. Even in control environments such as practice, Wilson didn't perform well during that stretch, according to Pryor. Underscore 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 underscore. Will the Steelers re-sign Wilson? Pryor's update isn't likely to have much impact on Wilson's future. But it could change the narrative around the signal caller. Pundits were already questioning whether the Steelers should pursue re-signing Wilson. After Pryor's assessment of his practices late in the year, Steelers Nation is even more likely to want the team to pursue other quarterback options. Why Steelers will attempt to draft this top WR prospect in round 1. Things could change, but there is an obvious choice for the Steelers in the upcoming draft. To understand who the favorite is, we must understand their current list of needs. Pittsburgh must fill holes at quarterback, running back, receiver, offensive line, defensive line, and the secondary. There is still enough time to fix those problems, but they will solve some through the draft. With only $43 million in cap space, don't expect the Steelers to pull off many grandiose moves in free agency. They might try minor alterations unless they can locate more cap space through cuts and contract restructures. Either way, don't go into free agency expecting the club to plug all their holes on the roster through a massive spending spree. Pittsburgh routinely leans on the NFL draft to build their roster. They will try and lean on certain positions of need by selecting rookies on cheap contracts. One name that has emerged in countless mock drafts and discussions has been Emeka Egbuka. The Ohio State product has been a consistent producer at receiver since he started there. Rather than signing a receiver to a massive deal in free agency, picking someone like Egbuka would help solidify their offense. He has what the Steelers have been searching for. Emeka Egbuka should be early favorite to land with Steelers as top pick. While looking at Egbuka as a prospect, his biggest weakness for being the Steelers' top pick is being a slot receiver. He has played most of his football in the slot. That is not a negative per se, but Pittsburgh needs a dynamic receiver on the outside. Add in the fact that Russell Wilson rarely throws over the middle of the field, and it could be worse if the veteran quarterback gets re-signed. Egbuka is a dynamic route runner who could be a prolific receiver at the next level. Taking this 3-year starter at Ohio State with the top pick would immediately open options in the middle of the field. His high skill with running routes is unmatched in this draft class. With a light crop of prospects at the receiver position, expect the Steelers to attack the position early. Unless they sign a big-name free agent, they will try to snag one between rounds 1 and 2. Read more: Steelers hit offensive trifecta in groundbreaking 3-round mock draft. Other than his route running, Egbuka is a willing blocker. Arthur Smith will return as the Steelers' offensive coordinator next season, and they want to get the run game rolling. If you want a successful attack on the ground, then you need receivers who are willing to do some dirty work. Egbuka has shown consistency as a dependable blocker in college. There is still countless time between now and when the first round of the upcoming draft starts. Things could change between now and then, but Egbuka should remain a top target for the Steelers in round 1. He has everything they are looking for. He can block and catch the ball consistently and has a superb knowledge of route running. And are you a fan? What do you think of Emeka Egbuka's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.